Hello guys, welcome to the next video on C programming for beginners, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use switch statement in C. Now in the last two videos I've been showing you how to use if-else conditions and multiple if-else conditions in C, and switch statements are also condition based statements, but they are little different in a sense that you can use conditions with switch statement, but conditions must be constant conditions. So let me give you an example and then you will understand how switch statement works in C. So first of all we will see how switch statements are declared in C. Okay, so the basic syntax of switch statements is like this. Okay, so I will just delete this for now, and so that you can you know see what is the basic switch statement code. So switch statement start from this switch keyword, and then comes these two brackets, and in here comes the expression. Expression is something which you want to validate on the basis of some case, right? Now inside these two curly braces comes some cases. So case and then some constant expression. I will give you an example. This is just the syntax I want to show you. So case and then comes some condition or constant expression, right? And then comes this colon, and inside or down under this case comes the statement or the code which you want to execute here, right? Now after this code is executed, you break this switch statement with this break keyword. So this is an optional keyword. Sometimes you don't need this break, sometimes you need this break, and I will tell you where exactly you need this break and where you don't need this break, right? In the same way, you can have multiple cases inside your switch conditions, and whenever whatever condition is not covered by your case is covered by this default. So if none of the case is true, this will be executed, which is a default case. So default case starts with this keyword default colon and then your case. Now let's see an example, and then we will be able to understand it much better. So for example, we want to calculate the grade of a student, and on the basis of grade we want to give some message or print some message. So for example, int, and let's say student scores some marks. So I will name my variable as marks, and on the basis of marks we want to decide if the student is excellent or whatever, good or very good, or he has scored poor grades. Okay, so now we use switch statement, switch, and I told you then comes then an expression, and this expression will be our mark because on the basis of this mark we are going to evaluate some cases, and on the basis of cases we will execute some code. But first of all, let's assign some value to mark. For example, 90% of mark, or 80, or whatever you want to decide, right? Now mark is our expression which we will evaluate, the value of mark we will evaluate, and then comes these two curly braces, and inside these curly braces comes the case, right? Case and then your mark value. So different value of mark we can evaluate. Right now mark is equal to 90, but for example mark can be 80 or 70 or 60 or whatever, right? So for example mark is equal to 90, then we want to print printf, and we want to print this is an excellent grade, right? Excellent. Okay, and then the same semicolon, and then we will break. Okay, now comes the second case. For example, in this case we want to evaluate mark is equal to 80, right? And let me give some indents here. And when grade is 80 or for example 75, we will say that he has scored very good grade, for example. Okay, so we will print, instead of excellent we will print very good. Okay, in the similar way you can just add break here, and break is nothing but a keyword which breaks this switch case, and I will explain you what it does. But let me add two more conditions, and these two conditions will be, first is 60% of mark, and then we will say good, the grades are good, or we will say 50% of mark and or 40% of mark, and we will say grades are okay or poor or whatever. This is just an example. Or otherwise we will say if the grades are not 90 or 75 or 60 or 40, there can be grade which is not covered by these cases, then we will have the default case, default, and this case covers any value other than covered by these cases, right? So we will print grade unavailable. Okay, so let's run this program and let's see how it works. Okay, so I will just compile and run this program, and it says excellent, right? And that's what it must do, because you see marks is equal to 90, so it assigns mark is equal to 90, right? And then we are checking the value of 90 using this switch statement, and because mark is 90, it goes to this case where mark is equal to 90, then it prints this message. And what this break does is, if the case is fulfilled, then we want to break out of this switch statement, and we don't want to execute any other statement other than whatever is fulfilling our case, right? So it prints excellent and it breaks out of the switch statement, and whenever your C program sees this break statement, it jumps out of your switch case right at the end of the switch case. Okay, now for example our marks are 75, then let's see what's the answer, or what it prints. It prints very good, which is true, right? So in the case of 75, it mark is equal to 75, and search for the case for 75. It's if the case 75 is present, it will print your value, or it will execute whatever code you will write here, and then it will see this break keyword, and it jumps out of this switch statement. But the important thing here is the case 90 is not executed because the code inside this case 90 is not executed because the case is not 90. Mark is 75. The value of mark we are checking, right? So value of mark is not 90, value of mark is not 60, value of not mark is not 40, but value of mark right now is 75. That's why we have executed this code, or C has executed this code, but other codes are not executed. Okay, so on the basis of these cases you can define multiple cases, and whatever case is fulfilled at a time, that code will be executed, or code inside that case will be executed. Otherwise code will not be executed. Okay, now you may ask that this code can be 95 also, and then also the student has scored excellent marks, right? So in order to do this, for example, for covering 95 grade or other grades, for example like this, and if the grade is 95, still we want to print this excellent grade. So what you do, you just use case 95 and you don't execute any code inside this case, and you don't give any break here. So this means whenever you give a case without any code and without any break here, this means that this and this are the conditions which are covered, and if either of those conditions are fulfilled, then this code will be executed. Okay, so if the mark is equal to 95, it sees here that case 95 and it jumps to the next case, and it's because it's not breaking anywhere, so it jumps to the next case, right? If there will be a break here, this kind of break keyword, then it jumps out of your switch code. But because we are not giving here this break, it jumps to the next condition and executes the next statement, which is print excellent. So let's see what happens when grades are 95, and we will compile our code and it says excellent, and this is what we were expecting because there is no break inside this case 95, so it jumps to the next case in the series of cases. For in this same way you can provide same cases for example 97 or even 85. You can do 85 here, 85, and all those four cases will be covered by this statement. Okay, in a similar way, whenever you want to have a very good grade, you can cover 70 or 75 also, so 70 or 75 without giving this break keyword. Break keyword break your statement and go out of your statement. Okay, for example, grade is right now 75, and we will compile and run the program. It says very good, right? So you can cover different cases and execute a same statement using or without using this break keyword. Okay, so this is how you use switch cases in C programming. I hope you have understood the basic concept of switch cases, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment and subscribe, and bye for now.